Hey Spooncrafters and Bushcarvers out there, this is Max from Woodsman Finest. How is it going today? Couple things. First of all, welcome to this second episode in Spooncarving 101, my series where I want to show you in some crisp, short videos a couple of things about spoon carving, how to get started, a lot of details, and the further we go, the smaller and the more detailed the techniques and the methods gonna be. Over the last few years carving, like I said in the first episode, I encountered quite a few methods and techniques that I'm using every day, and I just found a way to name them or to give them, you know, a little bit of a character or my name for myself, so I can actually use a metaphor or a crisp keyword for people to learn it easier. Please excuse as I'm going through these videos. I'm trying to, first of all, work on my M's. I hear from a lot of people that I say all the time. Now, I'm sorry for that, guys. And girls, of course. I'm here in Austria speaking German all day after speaking English for half a year, and I'm quite frankly getting a bit confused. I'm also speaking Japanese quite a lot every day, and usually my mind is already focused on the next project or something, but I'm working on it. In any case, I'm sorry for that. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way, to all the US American folks out there. Middle of the afternoon, actually, but still sun is going down already. So I just needed a coffee. I'm in the middle of making some spoon stock here. I don't really need a template by now anymore, but it took me quite a while to get there. And all of these things I'm doing here all day long that are very, very easy for me now, after a lot of years, of course, of just experiencing and getting the everyday grind, I really would like to share them with you so you get to the point where you can just relax a little bit more spoon carving. Because I also remember that I was quite, you know, at some points even a little bit nervous spoon carving, making my bowls and everything. There were quite a few points in spoon carving that made me quite nervous. So, welcome to the second episode. I just wanted to do in between here. Today is going to be about tools. In these videos, I first and foremost want to address the questions that I get from people, because I can't really answer them individually, or at least it would not be very efficient for me to answer these questions that come in over and over again individually all the time. So I keep them, make a video about it, try to keep it crisp. So I hope you're having a good time watching. This is just my workspace. Sometimes in the past it was a little bit fancier. Right now I'm basically in between moving to a new place, so it's not really fancy. It's just a yard, some green wood, and a couple of really, really beautiful tools from really great makers around the world. So I want to share those with you. But as you know, I'm doing a lot of videos about fancy, just very high level custom hand-forged tools. The problem with that a little bit is not everybody who's just getting started really has the dough or the confidence to commit to these very high-end tools. Now, in general, I would say get the best tools you can afford, but that is considering that you're really at the point that you know that you want to keep going with spoon carving. Now, in general, like in the first video I said, the principles you learn when you use an axe and a knife to make something are really so versatile. Make a bow, make a log home, make a bowl, so many things. Being able to handle a knife and an axe with a little bit of blunt confidence and knowing what you're doing is giving you a very, very wide range, of course, of more safety, but as well more applications. So after this long intro, I gotta work on that as well, I guess. Let's just get into the budget range of tools that I would recommend you if you're starting out with greenwood carving. Okay folks, so let's try this again. This was of course more or less just a joke. I want to say of course a couple of words about the tools that I'm going to be putting on. First of all, you need some kind of chopping block. This can be anything. I mean, this one here is about a hip high, just big piece of lumber. I sometimes find a chopping block like this, like a big piece of lumber, just at the local fill site where people just bring all their garden garbage, stuff like that. I really find stumps like this. As well, you can build your own chopping block with plants that you find on the web, with a smaller piece of lumber that you put legs into. I've seen some chopping blocks that were no bigger than 6 inches or 7 inches in diameter, just for putting them on the floor, sitting next to them and chopping stuff. And in fact, I've even chopped out spoons just on a hardwood board on the floor. So this is probably your first piece of equipment. Just be creative. This is not going to be a complete guide to all the tools usable, because there's so many different types of tools around the globe, different cultures using different amazing tools that I'm very interested in and trying to collect a little bit and pick up. But this is basically what I use in a lot of spoon carvers these days, in the Swedish, European tradition or Scandinavian tradition, whatever you want to call it, because it's a little bit mixed, what we are using in spoon carving. So let's start out keeping it on a budget with the axe. This axe is just a Austrian made but low budget axe that was in the shed, that probably my grandpa got a long time ago, just as a beater axe. It's a 600 gram head, like I said in the video before. Please just head over somewhere here, wherever I'm going to put that. There's going to be a little link to that video where I talk about axe weights. So this is definitely going to be an important tool to process, rough your spoons out, maybe even split the spoon. You can use a mallet, you can use the axe only. So I just put the essential on here, an axe. What did I do to this guy? I literally spent 15 minutes with a $5 bastard file I got on a Japanese flea market, that, or maybe it was even $3. Just putting a straight bevel onto this thing. It's soft enough to do that. Then I put it on a super cheap, probably Chinese waterstone, and finished it off with some stuff that I'm going to show in a second as well. So just like that, I carved the spoon with it. This axe was probably $15. You can get an old head on the flea market, like what I do very often. Just, you know, make a handle for it. I have another video about that. I'm going to link here, where I'm going to show you how to carve and handle or haft an axe. So here, your first tool. What you're going to be exactly doing with it is going to come in a later video. Roughing your spoon out. Very important. Secondly, and not everybody agrees with that, but I really like using a saw. This is just a Japanese folding saw. Super easy to transport, extremely sharp pull saw, and you can get something like this for about $20 off eBay or Amazon rather, if you don't use it for spoon carving anymore because you don't, you're not getting really into it at the end. This is still going to be an amazing pruning saw, bushcraft, camping tool. It makes really short work of any trees up to, I would say, 10 inches or maybe 6 inches. Not to say that I don't cut 10 inches with this thing all the time because I don't have a chainsaw. I love this thing. It's used in spoon carving a lot. Of course, trimming your branches, trimming your wood to the length you want, and then in the spoon carving process as well. I'm trying to work on my arms as I'm going. Good. Very important. Maybe the most iconic tool of all of them, of course, the Slöjd knife. I have a lot of videos about different Slöjd knives on my channel, so if you don't really know what to use, just head over to my channel, and there's going to be a lot of options there. This, again, keeping it on a budget. I still have my custom Slöjd knives, the ones that I forged, the ones that other amazing people forged. But, as I said in my video about this Mora, again, link is going to be here, somewhere out there. The Mora is an incredible knife, and you get a knife like this for maybe $20. The blades itself can be had for $15 if you want to make your own handle. and this can be your spoon carving knife for a long time. There's nothing wrong with these knives. So you need a Slöjd knife for further shaping and finishing. Then of course, and very important, again, several different options. You have a hollowing tool of some kind. Now, next in line, of course, you need a hollowing tool of some kind. There's different ways of hollow out a spoon. Now in Austria, where I come from, there's gouges that are used for bowl and spoon carving. But I never really got into the gouges. But other people are extremely good at it. So I want to keep it on a budget. For me, living like 30 minutes away from Stubai, where I used to live very close, these tools were not too expensive for me, but they're cranked, and if you get a gouge that's cranked, it's going to be quite expensive. So you can find these on flea markets, you can work on them yourself, you can use the sharpening methods that we're going to handle in later videos. So when I was in Japan, there was another option that I got there, and it's also quite common. I saw it in the UK for bowls, for spoons as well. It's just a very, very cranked gouge like this. People call it gooseneck, I think. There's other French names for it. In any case, I got me this for bowl carving as well, but I don't really use it for spoons, but it doesn't mean that it's not possible. However, I'm not versed in how to use these for spoon carving, and this is also not a very cheap tool. So the most common, I think, for the spoon carving type that we're doing is just a classic hook knife. In this case, with all the other tools, I would say, like, get whatever saw you have. Use the one on your Swiss Army knife. Get an easy hatchet around 750 grams to start out. Get a simple knife. You can use a whittling knife, a pocket knife. Use your jackknife. Keep it sharp. You can carve spoons with it, not a problem. A Mora is also not expensive. It's going to serve you a very long time as well. Now, a hook knife is probably, out of everything here, the only one where I say, please, just go ahead and invest a little bit. I'm not talking tons of money, but a Hans Carlsen hook knife like this, and this is my favorite do-it-all, easily accessible, easily findable hook knife. A Hans Carlsen like this is, I think, about $50, maybe $60 shipped, same in euro, give or take, and it's an amazing hook knife. Just check out my review about this guy. Integral construction, it is so efficient. It just an amazing knife, keeps the edge so nicely as well. But before I keep going with my ode to the Hans Carlsen hook knife, I just want to point out that this is a tool that you really could invest a little bit into, and if you don't stick with spoon carving, there is a good market out there, and you're definitely going to be able to get rid of this one on the secondary market or second-hand market very quickly. Now what else is there left? Now there's a couple of really obvious things, like a pencil. I use carpenter's pencils mostly. I use Eddings as well, but a soft carpenter pencil like this still writes quite well on green, soft, wet wood. So just stick with that. Now of course you can use templates as well for your spoon carving and everything, but in the beginning you don't really need it, and this is really a more or less very minimalistic kit still. Now in order to keep your tools sharp, there is of course a ton of different methods you can use. Of course I use very often just some kind of bench stone. This is just a cheap Chinese bench stone. Gonna fit into here. That doesn't cost a lot and takes material off very quickly. However, you can also use just a combination. Please focus. You can also just use a combination of different sandpapers, starting around a 320, 400, taking it up to 2000 in increments of half, I would say, or like double rather. I usually go 400, 600, or 400, 800, 1200. You can use 1000 or 1500, ending, finishing up with 2000. There's a lot of experimentation you can do with it, and there's a lot of videos about that out. However, sandpaper, a strop, maybe with a one side with leather on it and the other side flat to put the sandpaper on, in combination with polishing compound, and the easiest to get and the most aggressive with a very, very good result is definitely some kind of automobile metal polish. In this case, Autosol from Amazon. Doesn't cost a lot and really brings amazing results. So now we have your tool maintenance more or less covered. What else is there to think about? Well, I guess you need some wood in order to make some spoons. Let's put some spalted birch on here, which is a topic for another video, of course, talking about the woods that I'm using, in what state they are, etc., etc. And last but not least, get yourself some coffee. Cheers. Now folks, I know this was not the most complete or the most elaborate presentation of tools for spoon carving, but I really wanted to present you just really the minimalistic or the most essential kit. I have several videos about my essential spoon carving kit out there, but I wanted to put it together just another time for you in this Spoon Carving 101 series. How you basically get from a rough piece of wood all the way to the finish, which is what we're going to go through step by step in the following videos. As well, your tool maintenance. For finishing up your spoons, there is again a lot more different options. You can use oils, waxes. I didn't want to go too deep and too far into all of that. But for roughing and carving out your spoon, this is pretty much what you need to start out with. I'm pretty sure that you can keep a kit like this under $75, maybe under $100. Maybe you have a gouge lying around, maybe you have a whittling knife, a little hatchet somewhere. Pick up some used tools, maybe a used file, just to sharpen up your old hatchet. So it just does the roughing job for you, which is basically what we're doing with it anyways. Of course, if you're doing this for a job all day, you want to have tools that are a little bit more specific, a little bit more specialized, better edge holding capabilities, maybe a little bit better looks, whatever it is. But in order to start with your spoon carving hobby, you don't need anything else than that. And remember, if you don't, need it anymore, it's easy to sell some of these tools, especially the good ones you're buying, like a Tuka cam like this from Nic Westerman. If I throw this onto the market right now on Facebook, a Facebook group or something, it's gonna be gone in probably under 2 minutes. So this is my idea for spoon carving on a budget, what you need to start out with, and this is hopefully the answer to a lot of questions of yours. Well, if you feel like there was something missing, just wait for the next few videos. Of course I'm gonna go more into wood, and then we're starting out with how I'm actually using the tools that I showed you today. Now get out there, search a couple of whatever you have, Craigslist, Kijiji, eBay, your local yard sales. Get some old tools, get an old file, refurbish them with some sandpaper and maybe some strops. Like an old leather belt can be made into a strop very easily on a flat piece of wood, and get yourself some green wood and get started. I'm gonna see you in the next video. My shout out today is gonna be to Nic Westerman, who made this incredible Tuka cam and a couple of other tools I have. He's a good friend of mine by now, has been supportive to me for a long time. I love his work, and just check him out in the description box. I want to put his Facebook channel and his website on there, and just check in his incredible tools. And if you get ever deeper into spoon carving, I really can recommend you to get on a waiting list for a tool of his, and then just be delighted when it arrives at your door. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching. Thanks for the support. Check me out on Instagram, please. Please, if you like this video, just leave a subscription so we can benefit from each other mutually. And I wish you a beautiful day. Stay safe. I'm gonna see you next time. Cheers.